Alright, so today we're going to take a look at what you can do with a Reddit Prospector. We already did the 101 showing you how to use it. A lot of people say that a Reddit Prospector can't do very big rocks. In this video, I'm going to show you that if you get a Sabir gadget, you can actually crack an 8K rock with gold in it. We've also got some Quantanium, some Bexlite, and some Terranite. So what we're going to do is we're going to break all of them, and then we'll go through and collect. So this first rock says Bexlite. It's only about 3,500, 35, 45. And you'll notice that I'm kind of staying towards the extreme range of optimal. That's because if I get too close, I could actually give it too much juice and it'll climb a lot faster. So this way I can stay in the lower part of the power bar there and still actually break it. We're going to do pretty much the same thing with Terranite rock and the Quant rock as much as possible anyway. Obviously, when you're using a Reddit Prospector, the biggest thing is going to be the resistance, which is what you have the most problem with. Obviously, we're going to be a little more picky this time as well since we've got so many rocks to pick up from. So we'll probably stick to about 40% or so. And that's just assuming that we don't get anything higher. Go ahead and check these just so we have an idea of what we got here. And again, we're only using a Reddit Prospector, so we've only got 32 SCU of storage. So we'll probably end up leaving a lot of this here. Now, once you actually buy a Prospector, either in-game or on the site, then you can actually get with somebody and upgrade the bags to mole bags, which will give you 48 SCU. So basically, you end up with half again as much storage for ore, which is where you start getting into the making 200k a run. I'd estimate we're going to be probably around 100k on this run, give or take some. I started partway through here just to avoid all the searching around. You know, so we've got a couple of smaller rocks too. So if we have room, we might grab the Quant one. So we'll just start at the right. We're going to work our way across, breaking them. And then we'll come back through and pick up. The 8100 rock is going to be the last one that we break. Notice this one's 3550 or so. So we'll give it some juice and see what we can do. Biggest thing to keep in mind with these smaller rocks like under 5k is you may have to adjust your power also by moving your ship back and forth. That's the same thing as true when you're using like a Hofstede and a bought Prospector. They added in a while back where the distance from the rock actually helps control the power as well. This is actually a nice little patch I found. It was about 10,000 RS signature. We're actually mining on selling, which is probably where you want to mine. Unless you're on a server with a lot of pirate activity, in which case you're probably better off in the belt. The big thing to keep in mind is be at least 20 or 30 kilometers away from any outpost, at a minimum. I usually drop in from an OM, and I'll drop in between points where I know I'm going to be a good ways away. Alright, so there's the Quantanium rock. Notice that's something they've done now. So when the rock is part of it's hidden, sometimes it'll show up yellow while the other part of the line will be purple. Purple just means you can pick it up. If the full rock is outlined in yellow and you're looking straight at it, not through it, through something else to get to it, then realistically it probably needs broke again. But with the size of these rocks here, I doubt seriously we'll have any rebreaks. And I'm just going to go through and get an idea of what we got here. This is all part of the plan for what I'll pick up. So if I know I've got about 5 SCU worth of quant, then I'll fill up on the other stuff as much as I can and make sure I leave that 5 SCU free for the quant. At 24 to 25,000 per SCU, you definitely want to pick that up. The only time I would say not to pick it up is if it's just small trace amounts. Like if you can't even get a full SCU, then it's probably not worth it. And depending on how picky you want to get, if you have small trace amounts and a bunch of different rocks, it might not be worth it either unless you're topping off. So we'll go ahead and hit the Terranite now, and then we'll do the gold after, because that'll probably require a gadget. And just for a lot of my videos, I'll actually cut out a lot of the travel and searching and so forth like that. I'm going to probably leave this video whole, just so there's no question about whether or not you can actually do it. I don't want anybody to come back later and say, oh, well, you probably did something in between where you deleted. As you can see, this is a 5400 rock, so this is a little higher end. When you get the tier 1 materials, it looks like we're sitting at about 30-something% Terranite, so it's going to be a little harder to crack. Look at that resistance at 42%. And again, don't be afraid to get closer. You can get into that danger zone as long as you're not there when the rock cracks. So you could use that to your advantage to give it a little more juice. See, we'll get a little closer here, get that bar to climb some more. And then depending on where we're at, when it's ready to break, we'll either move back or stay depending on how it is. Typically about 5 to 6K is about all you're going to be able to break with a rented Prospector. Get a little closer here so we can speed this up a bit. And again, while you're mining, you want to make sure you get them sparks. And also keep in mind with a rented prospector, you're going to have to be patient. I mean, mining in itself is kind of a patient profession in the game. So, the rented prospector, it's even more so. It's going to take you longer to crack anything of substance. Here we go. You'll notice I didn't say anything, but you'll notice I also, if you look in the upper left corner, I put everything into shields. Just in case, and I'm going to back up a little bit now that we're charged up enough. Get back into that optimal zone. Just like again, just like before, we'll just get an idea of what we got. Like that 40 there, we'll probably grab. Especially if we get something around 1,000 and it's that high, then we'll probably grab it. And that one's got quite a few chunks. Got what, around 3 chunks or so that have 40% so far? And one that's almost 40. Alright, so let's go ahead and tackle this big one. This is what everybody came to see. Cracking an 8181 mass rock. We're not even going to try. We're just going to put the saber on it, then do it.
Engines off.
Go ahead and check, make sure you got your helmet on. Double click that and get it on your backpack. And if you don't want to use a saber, especially like if you have a bot prospector, there's other gadgets that are equally effective for other things like clustering and so forth. We're going to basically do the same thing we do here. Put it in your hands, hold F, right click, and hit place. And now we're on the rock. And once it comes up, we'll adjust the sliders. You notice a big difference if you've watched any of my belt videos with the jittering and so forth from EVA. Still got a little bit of a bug here where it keeps wanting to drift down. Again, we're looking for 90 plus. Once you get over 90, it's pretty much diminishing returns, but some people do try to go as high as they can get. I'm good at 80 or at 90. If I get a little extra, great. If not, it's not a big deal. I haven't really found personally that it makes a big difference. There we go. Now we'll jump back into Prospector and see if we can crack it.
Engines on.
Get an idea what we're looking at here. I'll probably lift off at some point, but see if we can get it to climb at all. If I actually hit this and it wasn't climbing, I didn't even get that little dip there where it showed up, then I probably would just pick up the gadget and go. Alright. Again, don't be afraid to get close on these. Just make sure you back off into the optimal zone right before it breaks. This is a big rock, so it's pretty much going to take everything this Prospector's got. Might even have to try to use a few tricks. Obviously, the first trick will be moving in closer. So if I don't see some progression here soon, we'll probably do that. Try to avoid it if I can help it. just because it's easy for you to back up and take damage. See what we can do here before we start doing anything else. Rocks like these are going to be time consuming. You're going to be a while cracking these just because of how long it takes to get it to move. Oop. Little dip there. A little desync, maybe just not hitting the same spot, something. Alright, let's try wiggling a little bit. Sometimes you can get it to climb by doing this. You see I'm going back and forth. You can go back and forth, up and down, in little circles, whatever works for you. Whatever's easiest. It all has pretty much the same effect. Just kind of spreads it out and helps us charge a little faster. Again, you can try larger swipes, shorter swipes, bigger circles, little circles, whatever works. I'll try a few different lengths here and then I'll settle down on whatever's giving me the best charge at the time. And don't be surprised if you've got to continue doing this all the way up until it charges. Like I said, this is a big rock for a rented prospector. This would be a walk in the park with my normal prospector on my main account. I'd have this cracked in about 2 seconds. Matter of fact, I'd probably had all these cracked and probably be gone already. But that's why we're doing this. Make the money to buy that prospector. I'll probably continue to do these videos with my alt. Just kind of the zeroed hero thing. Start with a starter ship and work your way up. Make enough money to buy something else. Although I haven't decided at this point if we're going to do a prospector or if we're going to go for a vulture first. At the time of recording, they're getting ready to drop 323.1A today. At least according to the feed I got. So if that happens, that'll take care of the duping bug that people are selling the RMC for so much. And then salvage will be doable again because you won't have to worry about all the locations being full. Alright, a little over halfway, right around halfway there. We'll just keep going. I'd imagine it's definitely more fun to be doing this than watching somebody do it, but if it helps, then I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm just going to let it run through. I'm not going to pause the video or anything like that recording. That way there's no question that I actually did crack it. It did work. 13K seems like a lot to blow on something when you're renting a prospector. But it's reusable for the Saber. Assuming you don't lose it or blow it up, you can just continue to reuse it over and over. So it's money well spent if it lets you crack rocks this big. And that's going to be, your mileage may vary because it depends on the rock, the makeup. Like in this case, we're only looking at a 22% gold. If we were at like 40 or 50%, then we might not have been able to crack this. But as you can see, at 22%, it's working just slowly. Just nice and smooth on the back and forth. I mean, go faster, slower, whatever. Just consistent. Really what it comes down to. I know it can be kind of hard to do, especially if you're on a mouse and keyboard. Like it can be difficult even when you're on dual sticks. And we'll just keep feeding it till we break it. It looks like we've got a little bit of rise again. And again, we're dealing with rocks and charging them up to break them, so don't be surprised if you get little dips here and there. Don't get discouraged, just keep plugging away at it. Patience is key. I've even seen in some cases where initially you didn't even get any charge on it, and you just kept hitting it, and it eventually started picking up. Notice I'm kind of drifting down the rock here a little bit. I could correct it, but I'm just not worried about it since it seems to be working. I seem to have gotten away from that one spot that kept jumping between impossible and challenging, kind of resetting. In this case, I'll just nose up or adjust a little bit to keep it on the rock if it gets too low. Even when you got good sticks, you got to calibrate them occasionally. Basically look for those areas that spark, find little seams in the rock. All of that plays into it. Really did go pretty much all out in mining to make a lot of different factors count and affect it. And again, if you've got a friend, putting another laser on this would crack it in probably half the time at least. I usually say it's better if you get a couple of people writing prospectors together, so if you got some friends that are starting out too, just kind of join up in a group and go out and attack them. Alright, almost there. Back up a little bit here. There we go. There's a little charge. Be going. Drifted back out into the optimal range, so I'm not in the red anymore. Alright, so there you go. There's an 8100 rock cracked with a Reddit Prospector. We can see, hopefully we got something worth picking up after that. Because it is very possible to break a rock this size and have a bunch of 20-something percents, or even rocks that have hardly any gold in them at all. So But hey, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. And again, we're looking for 40 something percent plus rocks. And I would prefer 50 plus, but judging by the other rocks I've already broke, I don't think we're going to get that too much. Anything that's like 10, 15, 20 or less, we're not even going to mess with. And then once we pick up all the stuff we know we want for sure, then maybe we'll pick up some smaller stuff if we're not full. I fully expect that after grabbing some 40s, we're only going to have enough room for the Quantanium stuff.
Engines off.
Always make sure you turn your engines off. Last thing you need to be doing is going to retrieve your gadget and see your ship start floating away. It's kind of ironic when you're on the ground like this, you need to turn your engines off. When you're in the belt mining, you want to leave them on, otherwise your ship will drift away from you. Let's grab our gadget so we can reuse it. Storage by holding R. And then we'll take it off our backpack because of that bug that I've mentioned on numerous occasions. Use our little trick here to trigger it. There we go. Now we can get to picking up. We've got 3 piles of rock and 2 freebies. So we'll try to take the best from all of it. Fill up.
Engines on. Launch sequence complete.
And after this, we'll take a look at
Mining mode on.
Regolith and see what the breakdown is on how much we'll make. Again, can't plug that website enough. Grab this 40 something percent here. Again, keep in mind, we want to be careful what we're grabbing, because if we get too much, we won't have room for the Quantanium. And that's typically where the money is. I mean, I might get, if I get 2 SCU of Quantanium, that's like 50 grand. Whereas it would take me, at about 7.5K per SCU for Terranite, Bexilite, and Gold. So, you're looking at like 7 SCU to equal that 2. Yeah, I'll go ahead and grab that. Looks like we're about 20 SCU right now. We've got about 12 left. Grab that one as well. And then since we're where we're at, all these chunks look decent sized, might have to go ahead and grab the quant. We'll see. Yeah, we're going to go for the quant. That's the payday. Even if I only get 2 or 1 or something, it's still a nice chunk. Definitely take that. That's good for 3/4 of an SCU. Also keep in mind that when you're dealing with quant, once you pick up, that timer starts. If that timer gets too far down, you're going to go boom. Also, keep in mind that when you're flying and landing, you need to be easy. Alright, and we're full. And we'll go ahead and head back to Row 1 in this case. There we go. I think I just realized I forgot to put my landing gear up. That's why I'm going so slow. Oh well. It'll go up when I jump. Probably shouldn't depend on that too much. Eventually they're going to make it so you can damage your ship when you do that, but it's not in the game yet. So again, following along with it, I'm not going to cut any of this out or edit it, just so that you can see full from start to finish that this is what we got and how we got it. So just bear with me a little bit while we travel. Fortunately, we're just going to Crew L1, so it's not too far. And while we're flying, if you actually do like these videos, you can go ahead and give me a like there and a comment. Let me know if there's something in particular you guys want to see. All about trying to show some of the game loops and how to do them, especially for new players who aren't sure. And obviously, if you're following along with this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You'll be notified when I upload new ones. Alright, obviously, that's the other thing they don't tell you. It takes forever to cool down on that quantum jump in a rented Prospector. I promise, you get an Atlas or something like that, in an owned Prospector, it's a little bit quicker. Alright, as usual, approaching the station, we're going to go ahead and jack it up to probably, 400 or 500. We go in. And we'll slow down when we get close enough. Yeah, and always be aware of that timer. Because when you're in the Prospector flying in nav mode, you don't get it. If you look in the upper right corner underneath this flashing red ring, there's a little light there. When you get to about halfway on the timer, that should start flashing yellow. If it starts flashing red, you need to get down and get it stored now.
Hello. Thank you for contacting
And hopefully you have enough time. Red pretty much means it's imminent, that it's going to blow at some point soon.
Landing gear down.
Alright, again, we got Quantanium in here, so we want to be gentle. Don't go in and just slam it down. I would say to use the auto landing, but even that can jar it. So you want to land as gently as possible when you got Quantanium in the bags.
Landing successful.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Have it. Yeah, I'm not going to do this. We're just going to get out of here and get the ship stored. So used to actually repairing and refueling when I land. Alright, we'll get the ship stored, head down to the refinery. See what we got.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System.
Get our ship stored here.
Please visit us again.
A movie glass has been found. Report to the manager's office if you think it's yours.
Alright. Go ahead and bring this up and take a look.
Hey, back again, I see. Welcome. See anything you like?
Select our Prospector here. We're going to be looking at about 6214. So obviously right now what you're seeing is they glitching that processing your request. That's just a bug. It doesn't affect anything. As long as you can see what you're doing, just continue on. In the meantime, I'm putting this in Regolith now so we can see the breakdown on it. So it'll be just a minute here. Takes a second to put all the numbers in. Yeah, I usually try to get the numbers put in before I actually hit the button to put it in work. Alright, there we go. Alright, now you scroll over, you can see it's right there. And then give me a few and I'll pull up the Regolith so you can take a look. Alright, so here we are with Regolith. And if you're looking at the same window I am, you'll see we ended up with roughly about 187 or 1.87 SCU of Quantanium. Looks like 6.43 SCU of gold, 2.72 of Bexelite. And just to show you how this comes into play, we're now looking at about 116K for the load, minus the 62.14 for the refinery fee. So I'll clear about 110K off of this, just one load. Again, once you get those other bags on there on a bought prospector, you'll make significantly more. I'm bringing in regularly 190, 200K loads on a single prospector. Again, if you got any questions, comments, please leave them below. If you like what you're seeing on these videos, please like and share and subscribe. And thank you for watching.